Disclaimer: this podcast is just our opinions and facts gathered on the internet, and we do not wish to offend or cause any harm. Quick apology for mistakes we make in this podcast, whether it's saying the wrong thing, getting our facts wrong, or our bad pronunciation. I hope you have fun. Enjoy. Hello and welcome. This is Alex Taylor.
And I'm Cara Moore.
And you're listening to Alex and Cara's A Gen Z Convo. Since this is our very first episode, we are going to give you a brief introduction about ourselves. I am, as I said before, I'm Alex Taylor. I just love dogs so much. They are everything. Okay, I just love them so much. It's a little obsessive, but
you can literally go on about dogs for like hours and not get bored. Well, other people will get bored, but
yeah, not a good thing. I also love mystery books. All the mysteries. They're just comforting. Do you ever like get up in the middle of the night and just because you're like scared, or because you think something's in the darkness? Is it just me?
No. Yes, that's just you. I was saying no, that we don't do that. You do.
I mean, you don't get scared?
No, because I don't ever watch or do anything that would ever get myself scared. So no, self-preservation.
And then I read mystery books, which calm me down.
That doesn't make you more scared?
No, it calms me down.
Yeah, I feel that might just be you. I don't know if that might just be you, but it's definitely not me.
Okay. Anyways, if you have any suggestions for mystery books or literally anything you want to tell us about, then please check out our website and put your messages there where we will read them.
Yes. And send us any kind of news, little tablet articles that you want us to focus on.
Someone told me to shut up. Never mind. On we go.
Okay, well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of distractions.
Oh, this is because we're not in the same location, so I'm having her over FaceTime, and we still don't have the right equipment to do this.
And a lot of distractions.
Yes. And I am a nuisance to the world.
Alright, so I'm the co-host, Cara Moore, and I also really love dogs, not as much as she does.
That's a good thing.
I don't know anyone who can compete with her love of dogs. We both have puppies. Actually, I don't have a puppy. My brother has a puppy. She has a really cute puppy. My brother has a little baby golden retriever that he just got. He's absolutely adorable. I love reading books as well, different kinds. I'm much more into romance. I'm a very big hopeless romantic. And of course, if you have any very, very good romance books, I am open to all. I feel like I'm also a really big fan of cliches. You can't go wrong with a cliche.
Riverdale.
There's nothing cliche about Riverdale.
But you love that. I
loved season 1 and season 2 were good. Season 3 went a little off track. Season 4 was okay.
You rewatched it. Who rewatches Riverdale?
I had nothing else to watch.
So many other shows. So many.
My TV shows aren't really romantic though. They're all kind of like although there's a lot of DC. I love the Arrowverse. Those are good. I rewatched Prison Break. I don't like season 3.
Okay.
Next.
Oh, another fun fact. We became friends because we're both invisible and socially awkward.
No. We became friends. We became better friends because we were both invisible. But we became friends because by me asking her where she lived. You know, super normal questions. Not stalkerish at all. But then we found out that we lived in the same apartment building. above each other. Well, she was above me.
We didn't have the same rooms though.
We didn't know. We didn't have the same rooms.
And
You got the bigger one.
she gave me a backpack with that embroidered on it, and I took it.
You still used that backpack. You just took out the.
I took the embroidery. It was in red, so it was really
I
obvious.
feel like I should have done your initials. Your initials would have been better, but I don't know what to do.
But I really loved it. I loved the gift.
It was very.
I loved the
like,
sentiment behind it. It was a really thoughtful one.
Slightly stalkerish, but very bad.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Invisible story. Go.
This is so embarrassing. No one wants to know this. But we were on a school trip. It was like us and our other best friend, and we were all in a room. Our room was surprisingly really big.
It was so cold.
That's just you. Or maybe it's me. Never. It doesn't matter. And then we were staying, and then we're having pizza for dinner, and our table was right next to the teacher's table, and they were calling table by table up to get the pizza. And we're like sitting there waiting. We're like, oh, we're probably like being really annoying to be letting us go last. So we're waiting, and then everyone's having their pizza. And we're sitting there, just there, and everyone's eating their pizza. We don't have our pizza because they completely forgot about us. But we were sitting right next to the teacher's table, and so it took us like a solid 23 minutes before we could like ask them, like get up the courage to like come up to them and be like, hey, can we have your pizza now? And by the time we got to the pizza, it was all cold, and it was like the leftover like cold cheese.
Mushroom. Hawaiian.
Yeah, but then all the toppings were like scraped off. Like all the pieces of pizza like didn't have that many toppings at all.
Yeah.
So cold.
No pepperoni.
And
No.
pizza, I'm okay with that.
We didn't even have like. I wanted pepperoni. I didn't get that.
Picky.
Okay. Anyways, enough about ourselves. We're moving on to our topic. Not a topic of our rundown of our latest news, weekly news.
Our 5-minute rundown.
Oh, by the way, we're gonna do this every single week, and we're gonna post at Sunday 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
Okay. Cara, do you wanna give our viewers a 5-minute rundown?
Let's start. So we're going to start with a protest crackdown in Cuba. So there was a huge protest that was happening in Havana on July 11th, down the dictatorship, and we're not afraid was chanted during the protest. Officers are knocking down doors to the homes of the activists and protesters, and many are still in the custody of the police officers from that time. There are a lot of people right now that are afraid to leave their houses, and it's a little chaotic over there, but we're just hoping that everything is going okay. And next we have a sole survivor in a migrant dinghy in the Atlantic. A woman was found in a really poor state as she clung to an upturned dinghy in the middle of the Atlantic. She was found by a passing merchant ship that was going through that area. She was the sole survivor of what was known as the migrant tragedy, and that claimed 52 lives.
Oh, that's so many.
Yeah, and there were like 2 bodies that were found on raft with her. It's pretty horrible.
It's so horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Next, we have the Haiti earthquake. During the Haiti earthquake, which reached up to 7.2 magnitude, happened last Sunday, and over 2,000 were declared dead. 2,000, that's a lot. And
That's so many.
There's still hundreds and thousands that are still missing and have no home because it destroyed so many houses and homes, and even the government are struggling to find out how to rebuild everything.
And I heard that they couldn't get the help that they needed because of like the huge storm that came afterwards.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of help that could come because of that, and also there were a lot of shortage on supplies because of COVID as well, which is
terrible.
Yeah. All right. So next we have a BHP fired 48 of their workers for sexual assault.
I'm actually happy about that one. That one is something I'm happy about. I mean,
yeah, this one is like, yeah. This is the sad thing because this does happen a lot, and a lot of times it's not reported. So it's like really horrible that a lot of people don't report it because they don't think they're going to be believed. So BHP is a mining company, and over the past 2 years, it has had over 73 reports for sexual assault cases and has fired 48 of its workers for sexual misconduct in the workplace. And included in the 73 reports, there were 2 of non-consensual sexual penetration, such as kissing and touching. And even with these 73 reports, there are still many that are under investigation. So there could be a lot more.
Yeah.
Just
something. Yeah. Thank God.
Don't. No means no. Don't.
No.
Don't.
Yeah. No means
Other
no.
Leave it alone.
Okay.
Yeah. The next little rundown we have, we're going to talk more about later, is actually our main topic for today. It is the Taliban captured Kabul on the 15th of August in 2021, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. And the last one we have is the Australian police crashers known with anti-lockdown protesters. Officers used pepper spray when a 4,000 strong rally broke out in Melbourne, hours after the stay-at-home orders were given across Victoria. All were charged $5,442 Australian dollars for breaching regulations. 3 were charged with assaulting police officers, and protests in cities were smaller, with only 250. But that is still like a lot.
I understand their frustration because I'm in a lockdown too, but
sometimes it gets very desperate, but it is something that is needed to do because
Wait,
of.
what?
Not the protests, but the lockdowns. It's something it's going to frustrate everyone, but it's something that it's like, I mean, I'm pretty frustrated as well, but we're like, really, sorry, that's just my sister, but we are lucky because we do have the resources we need.
Yeah. We hope everyone is okay and is doing well in this current situation, whether it's in a lockdown or you're, allowed to go out.
Yes.
We just hope everyone is okay.
Yeah, okay, so now we're going to move on to
our main topic
we have today, which Alex will take over for.
Yes. So the situation in Taliban is so, it's just dire. As the Taliban took control of Kabul, I think this past week on the 15th, Afghans are fearing for their lives. They are trying to flee, and it's getting really hard for them, I think. I've heard that people were trying to cling onto planes and they would just drop as the planes took off. Yeah. Any comments? Okay. Never mind. Okay, she is on mute right now. Apparently, in early July, in the Ghazni province, the Taliban tortured and murdered men from the Hazara minority, according to human rights group Amnesty International. The human rights group reviewed photographic evidence as well as harrowing recounts of the witnesses. Villagers stated that they had escaped to the mountains when the fighting between the Taliban and the government grew closer. When some of the people returned to the village of Mindark, sorry for pronouncing it just wrong, to collect food, the Taliban who looted their homes were waiting for them. Some men who passed through the village on their way home to the hamlet were also killed. In total, 6 men were shot, some in the head, and 3 were tortured to death. It's horrible. It really shows their brutal nature and what their regime is going to be like after the US and UK finally withdraw their armies.
That's pretty horrific. The whole Taliban is like something that like we learn a lot about, but it's still kind of hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, I didn't think it would happen this quickly, to be honest. Like everyone else, I think. Amnesty's Secretary General Agnes Callamard said, "The cold-blooded brutality of these killings is a reminder of Taliban's past record and a horrifying indicator of what Taliban rule may bring. These targeted killings are proof that ethnic and religious minorities remain at particular risk under Taliban rule in Afghanistan." It's terrible.
It's pretty hard not to be at risk at all because, being religious or being in the LGBTQ community, that shouldn't make you any more of an outcast than it does the rest of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so frustrating, but, well, that is happening in our world anyways. Also, really sorry for pronouncing anything wrong because I am terrible at pronouncing. Also, mobile phone services have been cut in some Taliban-controlled areas, so many of the killings that may have happened are going unreported. And during their rule before in the 90s, I think, they were extremely brutal, depriving women, ethnic minorities, and the LGBTQ community of their rights. And I really hope I don't see that again, but I think we're gonna see a lot of that.
It's just
from what we've seen so far.
Definitely. All over the world as well, which is really sad, especially with not all over the world, but a lot of it is happening, and it's frustrating to a lot of people. And it's like they have the right to be frustrated. It's a horrible thing. Just treat everyone with respect and equality. Just
equality for all. Although they made promises of not killing the people who worked with the Americans and promised they would grant women their rights under Islamic rule, it seems the promises are not being kept. This can be seen in the threat assessment prepared by the UN. They made an assessment which has said that the ruthless regime has been going door to door in search for people who worked for NATO forces and the previous government. That is a lot.
That is a lot.
Oh God. And furthermore, many women have already been fired from their jobs and are now scared to go out. I would be too.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. They have to be scared at all, but yeah.
Germany states that the extremely dangerous and access to the airport is often not possible, which I think is entirely true, as the Taliban surrounds the walls of the airport in Kabul and many Kabul.
So no flights at all, or is it?
There's some flights, but it's hard to get in, I think.
Wow, I can imagine that, but it's still.
Yeah, and they're like fighting, and they're shooting their rifles into the air to scare them off and disperse the crowd. The Swiss government stated that the security situation had deteriorated significantly in the last few hours and postponed the chartered evacuation flight from Kabul. I mean, everyone agrees it's so dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And the US are also fearing for attack by the Taliban. It might happen. Hopefully not. And the U.S. withdrawal rate. I can't talk sometimes. U.S. has a withdrawal rate of August 31st, and it's unclear what would happen after this date. So, okay. And NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that several countries from the alliance have proposed that Kabul airport remain open for evacuations beyond 31st of August to allow them to get more people out. I really hope that happens because, I mean, at this rate, some fear not all citizens and the Afghans in danger will be evacuated as they have struggled to process these those queuing and step up the number of flights. During this time, the Taliban are planning to consolidate their control over Afghanistan, and Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, the group's co-founder, has now arrived in Kabul and is set to join talks on establishing a new government. He is the most senior Taliban leader now in the country and is likely to become a leading figure in any Taliban-led government. A Taliban official told Reuters news agency that they hope to have a model for governing Afghanistan within the next few weeks. It will not be a democracy like in the West, but it will protect everyone's rights, he told the agency. I really hope they do, because
I hope that's not another broken promise.
Yeah, I feel like it is, though, from what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Mr. Baradar signed an agreement with the U.S. in 2020 in which the U.S. agreed to withdraw all its forces from Afghanistan, but we've seen some heartwarming scenes as children were handed over the wall to American forces where they would be evacuated. I think that's really heartwarming.
But then it's also heartbreaking for them to be away from their parents, which is probably into like an arms of someone that is dressed like a military. But it is incredibly sweet, and sometimes in like times when it's not going so great, you look at the things that you can control and the things that aren't so bad.
And
the whole thing is pretty horrific, but there are times where it's super adorable.
I agree. And I heard that the flights are leaving half empty because no one can really get into the airport, and the organization is not at its best yet.
Yes, I can see that.
And there are so many reports of the Taliban turning up at the homes of journalists or former government figures and questioning them, and many fear it's only a matter of time before they target them violently and kill them, torture them, all the bad stuff. Back to the airport, and Khalid, the former interpreter with a young boy, finally managed to make it to the holding compound. So,
good.
Yeah, it was on BBC News, and I just found that, and I found it so sweet, and just so happy. But others are still struggling, and everyone is just so desperate to leave, but it's extremely hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult to leave at this point, especially with the COVID going on too. Everything is going a little crazy.
What do you think of the situation?
I mean, it's really hard to for me to compensate that because it's so horrific, and I'm very fortunate to never have to experience that. But I'm not going to pretend to understand the situation they're in, but I am going to say that it is horrible, and everyone does have the right to equality, their life, and the things that they want to do, and if they want to leave, then they can leave. And especially during all this, I don't think anyone should have any rights to leave, to keep anyone like this, like shooting a gun into the air to scare people off is pretty horrific.
Yeah. I also hope the people without those visas and those who haven't worked for the forces, who are not being evacuated, I really hope those people can leave in their own accord, and they can actually leave the country, because this is horrific. And if they don't want to be under this regime, they should be able to leave.
They have every right.
Yeah. And I really hope everyone that needs to be evacuated, who are in imminent danger from the brutal regime, is evacuated, and the planes are actually gonna fly.
And children as well. They need a chance to live a life that they deserve as a child, with a childhood that they are going to remember for a long time.
I really hope we see some updates soon, and we will give you an update next week.
Yeah, we'll keep updated on this story because it's something that should be kept on.
Yeah. Okay, to end with a fun note, we saw the story.
Well, it's not as fun, but it's definitely a little bit lighter than what we had before.
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I'll say this one. So there is the story that Alex has found where a soldier has faces jail over feeding her fellow troops pot cupcakes, which have cannabis in them. You never heard of like pot brownies? That's like a thing around like college parties or something. I don't know. So a Canadian soldier fed cannabis cupcakes to fellow troops during a live firearm exercise. By the way, very dangerous to be high whilst having a firearm. Yeah. And now to be sentenced to 5 years in prison. So bombarder Chelsea Cogswell was found guilty of administering a noxious thing to 8 soldiers as well as behaving in a disgraceful manner. So soldiers have been described feeling drunk and confused while handling their weapons after eating the cupcakes in 2018. So this was like 3 years ago?
Yeah. I'm taking over. This crime, this was before the cannabis was banned in Canada, so it was like 3 months before that.
3 more months?
No, it was before it was banned.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah.
I see that.
She said that the prosecutors had proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the affected soldiers had eaten cannabis from the cupcakes, which the bombardier knowingly gave them. This was said by the military judge, Commander Sandra Sukstar, on Wednesday. This bizarre case happened at the Combat Training Center at CFB Gagetown in the province of New Brunswick. Oh my god. It seems unreal, really.
I mean, it's kind of like the first time you told me about this, I was like pretty like shocked. And like during firearm exercise, that's what kills me the most. Really? Why couldn't you do that at like some like welcome party?
No, but I can really imagine them like high.
I've never seen anyone high before, so I don't think I would know. I don't know. It's like I would never think of this in a million years. Was there any reports of like why she did it?
No, but at least people weren't hurt because of this, and
well, firearm exercise.
No one was hurt.
Yeah, it's true, but it's still a firearm exercise.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of our segment today. We really hope you enjoyed this, and
we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Goodbye for now. It's Alex and
Cara. And before you leave, you can learn more about this online, and to show your support, email the White House, urge the President to protect at-risk Afghans, donate to Women for Afghan Fund, International Rescue Committee, or the IRC, donate airline miles for migrants, and familiarize yourself with the Malala Fund. You can visit our website for these links.
Always yours, Alex and Cara.